The alien training base stood like a dead mountain of metal on the surface of a gray planet. Its walls were tall, cold, and smooth, with glowing blue lines running through them like veins. Inside, hundreds of human captives were forced to train every day under the watch of alien commanders. Cameras followed every movement. Drones floated silently in the air, always watching, always judging. Among the humans stood a girl named Arya. She was young, she was thin, she did not look strong. Her armor was too large for her body, and her boots were worn down from long marches across steel floors. When she stood in line, she barely reached the shoulders of the soldiers beside her. To the aliens, she looked weak. To many humans, she looked out of place. That was why they mocked her. The alien commanders walked slowly in front of the human lines, their tall bodies wrapped in black armor. Their glowing eyes scanned the recruits with cold interest. One of them stopped in front of Arya. He tilted his head and laughed, a sharp metallic sound that echoed through the hall. "This one," the alien said in broken human language, "this is what humanity sends to fight wars." Other aliens joined in the laughter. Even some human soldiers looked away in shame. Arya did not react. She kept her eyes forward. Her face was calm. Inside, her mind was awake. The aliens liked to break humans before battle. They insulted them, punished them, and made them feel small. They believed fear made better slaves. Arya understood this. She had learned it on her first day in the base, so she stayed silent. Silence made the aliens think she was afraid. During training, Arya was always pushed to the back. She was given the heaviest tasks and the worst equipment. When she failed to lift a heavy alien weapon, the instructors laughed. When she fell during endurance drills, they mocked her openly. "Just a girl," one alien commander said loudly. "She will die first." The words spread through the ranks. But Arya listened more than she spoke. She watched how the aliens trained. She noticed patterns. She noticed that alien patrols always changed shifts at the same time. She noticed that their weapons overheated if fired too long. She noticed that their commanders trusted machines more than instincts. At night, when the lights dimmed, Arya replayed everything in her head. Every insult, every mistake, every weakness. She remembered. One day, the training changed. The humans were marched into a massive chamber with a holographic battlefield projected above them. Ruined cities floated in the air, burning skies. Alien war machines moved across the image. The commander stood proudly beneath it. "Training is over," the lead commander announced. "Tomorrow you will enter real combat." A wave of fear passed through the human lines. The alien commander raised one clawed hand and pointed directly at Arya. "You," he said, "you go first." Gasps echoed through the hall. The commander smiled. "We will show your people what weakness looks like." Some humans turned to look at Arya, some with pity, some with anger, some with relief that it was not them. Arya felt her heart beat faster, but she did not step back. That night she sat alone in her cell. The walls hummed with alien energy. Above her, a drone hovered silently. Arya stared at the ceiling and breathed slowly. Tomorrow she would be sent into a battlefield designed to kill her. She knew that was the point. She also knew something else. The aliens believed humans were simple. They believed strength was only muscle and firepower. They believed a girl like Arya could not survive without orders. They were wrong. The next day, Arya was given basic gear. No advanced weapons, no heavy armor. The aliens wanted a clean failure, a lesson for the others. She was led into a transport pod, alone. The doors closed with a loud hiss. As the pod launched, the alien commander's voice echoed through the chamber. "Let them watch. Let them see what happens to weak humans." The pod shook as it entered atmosphere. Red light filled the small space. Arya closed her eyes for a moment. She was afraid, but fear did not control her. When the doors opened, she stepped into the ruins of a destroyed city. Broken towers surrounded her. Smoke filled the air. Distant explosions echoed like thunder. Somewhere out there, alien forces waited. Above, in the observation chamber, aliens watched closely. They expected screams, panic, death. Arya crouched behind a fallen wall and studied her surroundings. She did not move forward. She did not fire blindly. She waited. The aliens frowned. Minutes passed. "Why is she not running?" one alien commander asked. Arya traced the ground with her eyes. Tracks, heat marks, drone shadows on the walls.
She smiled slightly. This battlefield was not just a trap, it was a lesson, and Arya was ready to learn. Far above the ruined city, alien laughter slowly faded into silence.
The ruined city was quiet, but it was not empty. Broken towers leaned against each other like tired giants. Cracked roads were covered with ash and metal dust. The red sky above flickered with distant explosions from other battle zones. Somewhere far away, machines moved and weapons fired, but here, around Arya, everything felt tense and still. She stayed behind a fallen wall and did not move. Above the battlefield, hidden far from danger, alien commanders watched through drones and sensors. They waited for panic. They waited for her to run into the open. They waited for her to make noise. "She is frozen," one alien said with a sharp laugh. "Fear has already claimed her." But Arya was not frozen. She was listening. She pressed her hand to the broken stone and felt a faint vibration. Heavy boots, not human, alien patrol. She counted slowly in her head. 1, 2, 3. The steps were slow and confident, too confident. Arya peeked through a crack in the wall. 3 alien scouts moved down the street. Their armor was dark green, their helmets glowing faintly. Their weapons were raised, but their movements were careless. They did not expect resistance from one unarmed girl. Arya pulled back and waited again. She remembered the training hall. She remembered how alien weapons overheated after long use. She remembered how their sensors focused forward and ignored vertical spaces. She looked up. Above her was a half-collapsed building, its upper floors hanging like broken teeth. Metal beams and old human cables dangled loosely. Dangerous, unstable, perfect. Arya moved silently, climbing over rubble and into the shadow of the building. Her breathing stayed slow. Her hands shook only a little. Fear was there, but it stayed behind her thoughts. The scouts moved closer. One of them spoke in an alien language, laughing. Another kicked a piece of rubble aside, bored. Arya waited until they were directly below the hanging beams. Then she acted. She pulled a small charge from her pack, old human tech, weak compared to alien weapons, but enough. She attached it to a cracked support beam and triggered the timer. 5 seconds. She jumped back just as the charge exploded with a dull thump. The beam snapped. Metal screamed as the upper floor collapsed. Dust filled the air. Stone and steel crashed down onto the street. The scouts shouted in surprise. One was crushed instantly. Another fell and did not rise. The third fired blindly into the dust. His weapon overheated. Arya moved fast. She picked up a fallen alien shock baton and struck the scout from behind. The alien fell, stunned and confused. Before he could recover, Arya knocked him unconscious and dragged him into cover. Silence returned. Above, the alien commanders stared at their screens. "What just happened?" one demanded. "That structure was unstable. She used it," another said slowly. Arya did not celebrate. She did not smile. She took the scout's data unit and scanned it quickly. Patrol routes, drone paths, power signals. She learned. Minutes later, alien drones arrived, scanning the ruins. They hovered low, their sensors sweeping the streets. Arya stayed still, pressed against the shadowed wall, her body flat against the cold stone. One drone paused. Its sensor flickered. Arya held her breath. The drone moved on. "She is hiding," an alien commander growled. "Send more units." More patrols entered the city. This time they moved carefully, weapons ready, no laughter. Arya changed positions, moving through alleys and broken interiors. She never stayed in one place for long. When drones passed overhead, she moved under cover. When patrols stopped, she stopped. The city became her weapon. Hours passed. Alien frustration grew. "She should be dead by now," one commander said angrily. Instead, reports came in. A patrol missing, a drone destroyed by falling debris, supply lines disrupted by triggered traps. "This is not luck," another alien said quietly. Down below, Arya watched a group of 4 scouts enter a narrow street. She marked their movement. She noticed the energy cables running along the walls, damaged but still active. She aimed her shock baton and struck the cable. Energy surged. The cable exploded, sending sparks and heat into the street. 2 scouts fell instantly.
The others ran, confused and blinded. Arya did not chase them. She moved away. Above the city, the alien commanders argued. She is avoiding direct combat. She is thinking. Impossible. Humans panic. But Arya did not panic. As night fell, the red sky darkened. Fires burned across the city, casting long shadows. Arya climbed to a high position and looked out across the ruins. She was tired. Her arms ached. Her armor was scratched and cracked, but she was alive. A new signal appeared on her scanner. A larger alien unit, heavily armed, coming straight toward her position. The commanders leaned forward, watching closely. "This ends now," one said. "She cannot escape this." Arya studied the approaching unit, heavy armor, strong weapons, too much to fight directly. She smiled faintly. She did not need to fight them. She led them. She fired once, just enough to be seen, then ran. The alien unit followed, confident and angry. She guided them through narrow paths, past unstable buildings, across cracked bridges. They did not see the weak ground ahead. When the first alien stepped on the old transit platform, it collapsed. The platform fell into the darkness below, taking the unit with it. The sound echoed through the city. Above, the alien commanders were silent. The test time ended. A voice filled the battlefield. "Return to extraction," the alien commander said coldly. Arya stood among the ruins, dust on her face, eyes sharp and calm. She looked up at the dark sky, knowing they were watching. She had not fired many shots. She had not rushed. She had survived. And for the first time, the aliens did not laugh. They watched her in silence, and somewhere deep inside their cold minds, a new thought formed. This girl was not weak. She was dangerous.
The aliens were no longer amused. Inside the command chamber above the battlefield, tall alien officers stood around a glowing table of moving maps and data. Arya's name appeared again and again in the reports. Patrols lost, drones destroyed, routes disrupted, all by one human girl. "This experiment has gone too far," one commander said coldly. "She should have been broken." Another replied, "Then we will break her properly." Their decision came fast. Arya was not returned to isolation like the others. Instead, she was sent back into the field, this time with a full human unit, 20 soldiers, tired, angry, and afraid. The aliens believed this would slow her down. Humans were emotional. Humans argued. Humans failed under pressure. They were sure she would collapse. The transport dropped them at the edge of a wide industrial zone. Tall factories stood silent, their windows broken, metal rusted by years of war. Smoke drifted low across the ground. Somewhere deep inside the zone, alien forces were waiting. The human soldiers gathered, checking weapons and armor. Many of them looked at Arya with doubt. "She's the one?" one man whispered. "She's just a kid." Another shook his head. "This is a joke. Aliens are playing with us." Arya heard them, but she did not react. She studied the map projected on the cracked wall. She noticed the power nodes, the broken transport rails, the narrow service tunnels under the factories. She turned to the group. "We don't rush," she said calmly. Her voice was quiet but clear. "We don't fight where they want us to fight." A tall soldier crossed his arms. "And who put you in charge?" Arya looked at him. She did not argue. She pointed to the map. "They will attack from here," she said, tapping a shadowed street. "And here," another tap. "Heavy unit there. Drones above." The soldiers went silent. "How do you know?" someone asked. "Because that's what I would do," Arya replied. Moments later, alien fire tore through the street she had marked. The soldiers moved fast, diving for cover. Shock spread across their faces. "She was right," someone muttered. Arya raised her hand. "Teams 2 and 3, move left through the tunnel. Team 1, stay low and wait." No one questioned her this time. The battle unfolded slowly, carefully. Alien drones moved in patterns Arya had already studied. She guided the teams through blind spots and dead zones. When aliens advanced, they met empty ground and hidden explosives. When they pulled back, human fire cut off their retreat. For the first time in many battles, the humans were not reacting. They were controlling the fight. Above them, alien commanders watched in growing anger. "She is directing them," one hissed. "Cut her signal." "She is not using external comms. She is using line of sight and human hand signals." The humans adapted quickly.
Simple gestures, short words, clear orders. Hold, move, wait. Arya never shouted, she never panicked. Even when a blast threw her against a wall, she stood up and continued. An alien heavy unit pushed forward, armored and powerful. Human weapons struggled to damage it. Arya watched it move. Fall back slowly, she ordered. Let it follow. The soldiers hesitated, then obeyed. They retreated into a narrow processing hall filled with old machinery and hanging chains. The heavy unit followed, confident. Arya fired at the ceiling supports. Chains fell, machines crashed down, the floor gave way under the heavy alien armor. The unit collapsed into the lower levels, trapped and useless. Cheers broke out among the soldiers. Arya raised her hand. Silence returned. Focus, she said. By the end of the engagement, the industrial zone was quiet. Alien forces had retreated. Human casualties were minimal. The soldiers gathered around Arya. The same ones who had doubted her now watched her with respect. "You saved us," the tall soldier said quietly. Arya shook her head. "We saved each other." Back at the alien command chamber, the mood was dark. "This was not expected," one commander said. "She is not just surviving, she is leading." Another slammed a clawed hand onto the table. "Humans are not supposed to lead like this." Arya's unit was pulled back, but not to rest. The aliens had a new plan. They would isolate her again, push her harder, force her into mistakes. As Arya walked back through the transport bay, she felt eyes on her. Human soldiers saluted her, not because they were ordered to, because they believed in her. She looked up at the cold alien lights above and understood something important. The aliens wanted obedience, but humans followed trust, and that was something the aliens could never control. As the transport doors closed, an alien officer looked at her and spoke softly. "She is becoming a problem." "Yes, and problems must be removed." Arya sat quietly inside the transport, hands resting on her knees, eyes closed. She did not know what the aliens planned next, but she was ready to learn again, and this time she would learn how to win. The aliens decided to end it. No more tests, no more observation, no more patience. Inside the highest command spire, alien war planners gathered around a massive star map. Arya's past battles replayed in cold blue light. Every ambush, every retreat, every mistake the aliens had made. "She predicts us," one commander said, "so we will give her something worth predicting." They built the trap carefully. They leaked false data through channels they knew Arya could access. A human refugee convoy, weak escort, high value, easy rescue. The message was clear and tempting. Any human leader would rush to save them. Arya saw the message. She did not react at first. She sat alone in a quiet maintenance room, staring at the projection. Her face was calm, but her mind was moving fast. The signal was too clean, too perfect. The route passed through open terrain with no cover, a killing field, a trap. But she also saw something else. The alien units assigned to the area were too many, too heavy. This was not just meant to kill her unit, it was meant to make an example. Arya called her team together. The soldiers gathered around her, faces tired but steady. They trusted her now, fully. "This is a trap," she said simply. No one argued. "But we are still going," she continued. Some faces showed surprise. "Because they expect us to avoid it," Arya said, "and because the convoy might be real." A soldier asked quietly, "So what's the plan?" Arya pointed to the map. "We let them think the trap is working, then we close it." The battlefield was a wide valley of broken earth and burned-out structures. No tall cover, no easy escape. Alien artillery waited on the ridges. Heavy armor units hid behind hills. Drones filled the sky. From above, the aliens watched as Arya's unit entered the valley. "She walked into it," one commander said with satisfaction. "Fire teams prepare." The first shots came fast. Energy beams tore into the ground around the humans. Explosions threw dirt and fire into the air. The valley became chaos. Human soldiers took cover where they could. Some were wounded, others returned fire, but the aliens had the advantage. "Now," an alien commander said, "advance." Alien armor rolled forward, confident and loud. But Arya did not order a retreat. She ordered silence. The human unit went dark. No signals, no movement. Smoke and dust hid everything. "Where are they?" an alien officer asked. Before the commander could answer, the ground shook. From hidden positions along the valley edges, old human artillery units activated, buried long ago, forgotten by aliens, repaired quietly by Arya's teams over weeks. The first shells hit the alien ridges. Explosions ripped through alien artillery. Drones fell from the sky. Fire spread across the hills. "What is happening?" an alien commander shouted. Arya's voice cut through human channels. "Phase 2, move!" Human squads emerged from cover, striking from unexpected angles. Supply carriers exploded. Alien armor units turned too slowly, trapped in narrow paths. The valley that was meant to kill humans became a cage. Alien commanders panicked. "They prepared this?" one said in disbelief. "She prepared this." Arya moved through the battlefield, calm amid the storm. She helped wounded soldiers. She redirected fire. She adjusted plans as conditions changed. An alien heavy walker broke through, firing wildly. It advanced toward a group of humans pinned down by debris. Arya did not hesitate. She ran. Energy fire scorched the ground around her. She slid behind cover, climbed onto a wrecked transport, and jumped onto the walker's back. Sparks flew as she forced open a panel she had studied in training. She pulled one cable. The walker froze, then collapsed. The humans watching erupted in cheers. Above them, alien command screens filled with red warnings. Retreat orders were sent. Too late. Alien artillery continued to fire. Alien units tried to pull back, but the valley worked against them. The same open ground they planned to use now trapped them. Arya stood on a broken ridge, watching alien forces fall back in disorder. For the first time, she felt something new. Not anger, not fear. Control. An alien commander watched the feed and whispered, "This was supposed to break her." Another replied softly, "It has done the opposite." As the last alien unit escaped the valley, silence returned. Smoke drifted upward. Fires burned low. The battlefield was scarred, but quiet. Human soldiers gathered around Arya. Some were injured, some were exhausted, all were alive. One soldier spoke with awe. "You turned their trap into ours." Arya looked across the ruined valley. "I just listened, how they taught me how they think," she said. Far above, in the alien command spire, the mood was grim. "She cannot be allowed to continue," the highest commander said. "Prepare the war leader." The room fell silent. To send the war leader meant only one thing. This was no longer a test. It was personal. Arya felt it too. As she looked at the stars above the battlefield, she sensed that something had changed. The aliens would not mock her anymore. Next time, they would come themselves. And when they did, the war would decide more than just one battlefield. It would decide who truly understood war and who never did. The alien war leader arrived without warning. Space above the planet tore open as a massive command ship dropped out of jump space. It was larger than anything the humans had seen before. Its armor was black and gold, marked with symbols of conquest carved deep into its hull. Smaller ships formed around it like obedient shadows. Across human channels, alarms sounded. "He's here," someone whispered. Arya stood inside the forward command shelter, staring at the projection of the ship. She felt the change instantly. The air felt heavier. The enemy was no longer distant commanders watching screens. This was the one who ended wars. The alien war leader's image appeared on every captured screen. He was tall even by alien standards, his armor thick and ancient, glowing with power. His eyes were cold and focused. "So," his voice echoed, deep and sharp, "this is the girl." Human soldiers clenched their fists. Some felt fear crawl into their chests, others felt anger. Arya did not speak. The war leader continued, his tone calm but cruel. "You have caused disruption, loss, confusion. You have embarrassed my commanders." He leaned closer to the camera. "But you are still only a human, still only a girl." The feed cut. Moments later, the battlefield shook. Alien forces poured in from every direction. Heavy armor, elite units, air support. It was overwhelming. Human commanders sent frantic messages. "We can't hold this. We need to retreat." Arya studied the incoming data. Her jaw tightened. "This is it," she said quietly. "This is where they expect us to break." The human lines began to bend. Alien fire tore through cover. Explosions threw soldiers to the ground. The sky burned with energy trails. "Fall back," someone shouted. Arya raised her voice, calm but firm. "Hold." Some soldiers looked at her in disbelief. "They're too many," one yelled. "I know, that's why we stay." She opened a secure channel and sent short-coded instructions. Human units shifted slightly, almost invisible to the enemy. They gave ground slowly, carefully, drawing the alien forces forward. The alien war leader watched from above. "She is stalling. Crush her." Elite alien troops dropped directly into the center of the human formation. The fighting turned brutal. Close combat, smoke, screams, metal against metal. Arya moved through it all. She dragged wounded soldiers to safety. She redirected fire. She closed gaps with calm decisions. Every move was simple, but exact. Then the line finally broke. Alien forces punched through, splitting the humans in two. "This is the end," an alien commander said. The war leader smiled. Arya stood in the open, energy fire flashing around her. She looked small against the chaos. The war leader opened a direct channel. "Look around you," he said. "This is where courage fails, where belief dies." Arya tapped a code into her wrist unit. Far beyond the battlefield, something answered. Across deep space, human systems came alive. Old codes, hidden inside alien networks, activated at once. Jump coordinates unlocked. Signals spread faster than the aliens could react. The war leader's ship alarm screamed. "What is this?" he demanded. Arya's voice was steady. "You taught me your systems, your command structure, your pride." Space tore open again. Human fleets emerged. Not one ship, not two, dozens, then hundreds, sleek, scarred, and ready. They appeared exactly where the alien defenses were weakest. Human commanders did not hesitate. "Engage." The sky exploded. Alien ships burned as human weapons tore through them. Boarding actions began instantly. The alien formation collapsed into chaos. On the ground, alien troops froze as their command signals vanished. Human soldiers felt it. The pressure lifted. The fear broke. They pushed back. The war leader stared at the battlefield in disbelief. "Impossible! You were contained!" Arya looked up at his ship, smoke and fire reflecting in her eyes. "You underestimated how fast humans learn." The war leader's ship took heavy hits. Shields failed. Fire spread across its hull. "This war is not over," the war leader snarled. "For you," Arya replied softly, "it is." A human strike team boarded the command ship. Moments later, the alien feed went dark. Silence followed. Then cheers erupted across human channels. On the battlefield, humans stood among the ruins, breathing hard, staring at the sky where the enemy once ruled. Arya sat down slowly, exhaustion finally catching up to her. Her hands trembled, her body ached. A soldier knelt beside her. "You held us together." Arya shook her head. "You held each other." Above them, human ships secured the planet. Alien forces retreated or surrendered. The breaking point had passed. The aliens had come to end one girl. Instead, they awakened a war they could not control. And for the first time, humanity was no longer reacting. Humanity was advancing.
The war did not end with a loud victory. It ended with silence. Smoke drifted across the ruined battlefield. Fires burned low, no longer fed by fresh destruction. Human soldiers moved carefully among the wreckage, helping the wounded, securing alien equipment, and standing guard over surrendered enemies. Above the planet, human fleets held position. Their ships formed wide defensive rings, calm and steady. No sudden movements, no panic, just control. Arya stood alone at the edge of the battlefield. Her armor was damaged, her face was marked with dust and small cuts. She felt older than she had only days before. Every sound seemed distant now, as if the war had taken something from the air itself. A human commander approached her slowly. He stopped a few steps away, unsure how to speak. "It's over," he said finally. Arya nodded. "For now." The commander looked at her with something close to disbelief. "You realize what you did?" She did not answer. Across alien-controlled space, shock spread quickly. Command networks collapsed. Orders contradicted each other. Entire fleets went silent when their leaders disappeared or surrendered. Alien records updated themselves automatically.
Where Arya's name once appeared as a minor subject, it now carried a new classification: Battlefield Anomaly. Alien analysts studied her actions frame by frame. They tried to understand how one human had caused so much damage without overwhelming force. Their conclusions conflicted. Some blamed arrogance, others blamed flawed doctrine. None of them found the real answer. Back on the planet, human medics treated survivors. Soldiers spoke in low voices, replaying moments from the battle. "She stood there, right in the open," one said. "She didn't run. She never runs," another replied. Arya walked through the camp quietly. Soldiers stepped aside for her without being told. Some saluted, others simply nodded. She did not feel like a hero. She felt tired. That night, under a dark and peaceful sky, a message was sent from human high command to every system. The war had changed. Humanity was no longer fighting to survive. Humanity was choosing where to stand. Days later, Arya was called to a command briefing aboard a human flagship. The ship was clean, bright, and calm, very different from alien stations. Screens displayed star maps and secured sectors. Human admirals stood in respectful silence as she entered. One of them spoke carefully. "You've become a symbol." Arya frowned. "I didn't mean to." The admiral nodded. "That may be why it matters." They showed her reports: alien forces retreating, human worlds reclaiming space, formerly enslaved species reaching out to humans for alliance. "They watched what you did," the admiral continued. "They saw that aliens can be beaten, not with strength alone, but with understanding." Arya looked at the stars outside the viewport. "What happens now?" asked Arya. "We rebuild, and we prepare." Arya was offered rank, command, a place at the highest level of planning. She declined. "I work best where I can see," she said simply. So they gave her something else: freedom. Arya returned to the ground, visiting human settlements recovering from alien rule. People recognized her, but she never stayed long. She helped repair systems. She trained units quietly. She listened more than she spoke. Stories spread anyway. They spoke of a girl who faced alien commanders without fear, a girl who learned enemy technology faster than they could control it, a girl who turned mockery into defeat. Among the aliens, a different story spread, a warning: never underestimate humans, never assume weakness, never ignore learning. Years later, a new alien council met in secrecy. They studied old war footage. One image appeared again and again. A small human figure, standing calm in the middle of chaos. One alien spoke softly: "If more humans like her exist." Another interrupted: "They do. We just taught them how to fight." Back on a quiet world, Arya stood on a hill overlooking a rebuilt city. Children played below. Ships passed overhead, peaceful and human. A young recruit approached her nervously. "They say you saved humanity." Arya smiled faintly. "Humanity saved itself." The recruit hesitated. "They used to say girls couldn't fight." Arya looked down at him. Her voice was gentle but firm. "They were wrong about many things." As the sun set, light spread across the city. Life continued. The war had changed humanity, but one truth remained clear across the stars. The aliens mocked a girl. They mocked her silence. They mocked her size. They mocked her patience. And by the time they understood their mistake, humanity had already learned to win.